Hi, and welcome back to the Drama Coach podcast. Today, I'm joined by Audrey Elizabeth from Elites Creative, a talent agent and public presence strategist. She brings a valuable perspective across training, theatre schools, and talent representation. Audrey has over 20 years' experience working with young performers and runs a talent agency, so she sees the industry from multiple angles. In this episode, we focus on well-being, what that really means in practice for young performers, and how that links to training, auditions, social media, and building a sense of identity within the industry. As always, this is about building confidence, understanding, and realistic expectations, whether you're a young performer or a parent supporting one. So let's get into it. Audrey, it's lovely to have you here. I feel like we've got some great conversations starting already before I've even hit record. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your work?
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to dive into all the topics that you've just mentioned there. But yeah, my name is Audrey Elizabeth. I'm originally Irish, but I'm based here in the UK. So I have multiple theatre skills for the last 20 years, a talent agency, and I work with a lot of online brands and coaches and actors and performers, really helping them shape their public presence. So I do a lot of different things, and I think that's why it's going to lead quite an interesting conversation, because it's kind of like the full scope.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we've both mentioned an interest in well-being in performers. I think we mentioned this in quite our early conversations. What does that mean to you when it comes to young performers?
I think, I was thinking about where has this actually stemmed from, and I don't even think it comes from me as a young performer. I think it comes from me as an adult looking at the pressures that children face today, because I think it's very, very different. And I also teach and choreograph for competitive groups and non-competitive, and seeing the difference in how much pressure can be put on children. But they're trained differently, but the ethos and the culture of this is the same. So for me, it's like performers who can feel like they fit in the right place, the right environment for them, and for that right type of culture for where they want to go. And I think that's its difference, because children are going to want, like, how serious, how much they want it is going to be different, and making sure that they're in that right place for that to be nurtured.
I think that's so important. It's so individual, isn't it? And like you say, some want to be competitive or want to take this path, and others it's something of enjoyment. I've seen this actually a lot with dance training, and that some might be just wanting to go and have a good time, and others want it to be their career, and perhaps sometimes they have to be not treated differently but supported in a different way, I would say. So what are you seeing at the moment, the kind of pressures on young performers, especially those that perhaps are competitive or looking at it as a career?
I think time constraints is a massive thing right now. I don't know, I hate even bringing up the whole COVID thing, but I feel like since then, academically, there's a lot more pressure I'm finding with my young people. A lot more pressure, a lot more things to get done within school, outside of school. So added on their extracurricular activities and, the more serious training as well, I think the pressure for them to do it all and do good at it all is insane. And also I think obviously like the social media pressure as well. I think there's a lot of comparison, and I know we'll talk about social media a little bit more, but I think it is a huge factor in young people's well-being, comparing themselves.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So could we touch on then what can help and support these students in a healthy way, whether that's coming from them, the people around them? What would your tips be to try and help them?
I think the right type of teacher, to be honest. I know that sounds blunt, but I think like making sure what your child wants and what you want from a group or a class or any kind of training that you join, that teacher matches that. I'm a big believer in culture, and just making sure that you're going for the things that you actually want to do, that's aligned with your goals. Like it doesn't matter what age you are, you can be setting goals and making sure you're choosing the things that align with that, rather than just trying to do it because it looks good, or the brand, or whoever else is going to be there, whatever show, cast and director, whatever it's going to be. Like, making sure it's actually aligned with where you want to go, and knowing that, like, when we come back to the identity stuff, like, knowing what your child wants and how far they want to go with it. Because you see, I can see quite a few times that, like, there might be a child who comes to my theatre school and, they're upset coming in, right? Because it's normal being a young child coming into the class. Yeah. I can tell if they're just like struggling with that transition across the door, and then they're fine. Yeah. Or like, I'm like, do they actually want to be here? That kind of way. And then it's about having that conversation with the parent. So I think that's really helpful, is finding a place where the coach, the teacher, whatever it is quite open to seeing each individual child for the person that they are.
And how could parents look for this in a training environment? What are the kind of telltale signs that environment, that culture is right for you or your child?
I think communication, like how the teacher, trainer, director is communicating with you as the parents, but also, more importantly, to be honest, with the child. Like, are they seeing them as the child that's walking through the door for the age they are? Because I think when a child is really talented and they're getting these jobs and opportunities, they can sometimes be treated older than what they actually are. Yes. So I think, like, outside of the talent, treating them at the age they're at.
Brilliant. I really like that. So from an agency perspective, what do you notice about, you represent young performers and adults, don't you, yeah, in your agency? But what do you notice about the young ones that are coming through now? You've mentioned sort of COVID and era. Is there anything specific that you notice?
Something that I'm noticing that I love is triple threat training. Like, I am just so blown away by the talent that's coming in and the interest across all three disciplines. Like, it's incredible. And I'm not saying like everyone should do that. If you have a strong preference, that's fine. But I think for young people, like, having the skill set across the board is just incredible. And if you niche down in the future, that's fine. But that is definitely something that I'm noticing that I absolutely love.
I don't know how they fit it all in. I see some fantastic performers, like you say, they can sing, they can dance, they can act, they can do it all. And that's amazing at such a young age. And like you said, then they can pick their path after that. So that's brilliant. What would stand out to you in a positive way in a performer that perhaps wasn't a triple threat, if you're looking for something in an actor, a dancer?
How they take up space is my biggest thing. Is like, aside from the talent, and I talk about this in my content all the time, like, you're not just a little list of credits to me. Like, I love to see how you take up space and hold yourself and, like, present yourself. Even if you're going into an audition and you're about to say your name, like, I think there's a clear distinction. Like, when they're doing their monologue or whatever it is, it's so good, they're so talented, but like, as themselves, they're like looking down and, is this video podcast? Like, I'm doing the actions here, they're like,
yeah, no, it will go out on video as well. So some people listen to it, but it will be on YouTube, and
yeah.
I think Spotify,
so like, you're punching down, and I think that's a massive difference in how you see yourself and how you show up and how you take up space, regardless of the discipline.
And I think that's hard as an adult. We all put on these masks, don't we? And I'm much more comfortable as the drama coach than I am as myself, I think, sometimes. Or certainly as myself as an actor. I love to play a character, but if I have to be me, weirdly, sometimes that is the hardest part, and I don't know how we get over that.
This is a huge part of my work. I'm actually writing a book about this called The Psychology of Being Seen.
Like, exciting. Keep me posted.
Yeah, and because I'm fascinated by this. Like, I work with incredible, talented, amazing people who can perform in front of thousands and thousands, and then, like, really struggle just to, like, say a name at an award ceremony or something. It's crazy. But like, it's just a new layer of vulnerability, isn't it? It's like exposing yourself. You can't hide behind the skill or the talent.
Definitely. And I think if they can learn that as a child, that's going to stand them in good stead, isn't it? If they're just used to that, then perhaps it won't be a huge issue if they are going into this industry for them to be themselves. Oh, that's really exciting. Keep me posted on that book.
Yeah.
So where is this pressure and expectation, both to be a triple threat or to be yourself? Where is the difference of this kind of pressure, and where is the line between this pressure and confidence? Where does confidence come into performance? I'm sort of mashing up two questions here, but hopefully it'll give you something to spring from.
Yeah, like how can we bring out more of their confidence with talent? Well, what I like to do from a teaching side is I give my students a lot of input, and even if they're younger, I'm like, what songs do you want to choose for the warm up? And things like that. Again with the culture, I'm just realizing that is really a true line of my theatre school is like
Brilliant.
what kind of culture we create. So yeah, I just think seeing the child as an individual rather than part of a big group, like letting them feel seen. If I see someone who may not be the strongest, but like has really, really tried, I will make a point of being like, oh my gosh, like I saw you try today, you're incredible, well done. Things like that. Like if I don't know if that's beneficial for parents, like this is more to help teachers. Yeah, I just think it's given.
I think that is beneficial to parents, though. Sorry to interrupt you, for those parents listening, because again, they need to know what they're looking for. Yes. And I've coached a lot of students, and I've seen a lot of other coaches for my daughters, and I feel now I know what I'm looking for. I can feel it, but to explain it is hard. And if they're going into looking for training for the first time, so I think it's really useful what you're saying about this culture works for you and is obviously so ingrained that you almost don't think about it. It's just the way that you are. But I think for parents to hear you talk about that will give them their own nuggets of advice in their minds that they're sort of looking for and feeling.
And to be honest, like I can tell you exactly where this came from, and I feel like it was always part of my work, but one of the biggest times that I really cracked down on the environment that I create is when it was for a competitive event, and we worked all year for it, and we won it, but like so much crap came on the back of that, like it almost didn't feel like a win. And I remember just really sitting there being like, I still want to be competitive, but like, what was the point? Like, do you know what I mean? There's more to it. And we still compete now, but with a very different energy. And it made me kind of push my culture and the way I want to teach. Like we've always done kind of like mindset work and setting goals and sitting in circles, even with the older teens.
Yes.
But it's the process is the thing that's most important to me. Not the film, not the show at the end, not whatever it is. The process of bringing it to life is what I love, and I want to pass it on to my students, that they're not always just chasing the end thing. They fall in love with the process, because like this industry is hard. If you're gonna like make it become your career, it is a long game, and you have to learn to enjoy the process in life, in anything.
I love this. I was talking this week about celebrating the wins, and the win isn't necessarily the job or the performance. And we all get the post-show blues anyway from the performance. So if you've got all of that connection and all of those wins along the way, I'm with you that that's something really important to have and to hold on to. Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
Yeah.
So let's move on to social media then, because obviously that's important in what you do. And for me as a mum, teacher, I think it's very important. I have my own thoughts and don't always abide by them. Let's talk a bit about social media and personal brand. It comes up a lot. Let's go with this question. What do you think the appropriate age is to have a social media presence as a performer?
This is a hard one, because genuinely, I feel it's not for me to say. It's for you to say for your child, you know? Obviously there's laws, like they have to be 13, but a parent managed account is not for me to say. And I don't think it's for anybody to say other than the parents. And I think there is no right or wrong, because there's benefits and cons to both, you know? I don't want that to be a cop-out answer. Like that's genuinely how I feel.
I think I'd say something similar.
Yeah.
Again, there are parent-managed accounts. I have one for my daughter. I have my other daughter who won't even let me flag her in, tag her in anything. Or if I do, it has to have her exact permission. And I understand that, and I understand both sides. And I took a couple of tips from an agent recently as well about not posting my youngest's spotlight details on her social media, because there's a lot there. If they want the spotlight, they should be going through the agent, which I thought was a good tip that I as a parent hadn't thought about. I just thought, oh, spotlight link, we're kind of proud of it and stick it out there. But actually there's no need for that. So I changed what I did there. But what works well with these parent managed accounts if people are deciding to have one, and what should people be mindful of?
think, like anything, what we were saying before, like know what the goal of it is. Like, what is the goal of the child's social media account? Like, I have seen parent managed accounts where the content isn't to help them in their career. Like, do you know what I
Oh,
mean?
what is the point then?
Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a girly girl
No.
doing a little
Okay.
daddy with me or whatever, like loads of
Yeah.
different things. And I'm just like, that's where the boundaries cross for me. I think, if it's a parent run account for their career, then it should focus on the
Mm.
not trying to build a fan base. Like, I don't think the
Yeah.
point of it is to
Okay.
get thousands and thousands of followers. It's to get them in front of the right people.
But I think the scary thing is, it seems to be going that way with adult actors, with some niches. Well, it'll even be on a casting brief now. You need X
Yeah.
amount of followers, or what is your social media following like? Which to me seems a bit crazy. I'm really not sure what I
I
think
know.
of this,
Now,
because there
obviously,
are
I don't have
brilliant
a
actors with none.
Yeah, like I do have a very different opinion on it for actors. I definitely think I call it your second stage. Like, this is what I coach
Mm.
all the actors on, is building their social presence on social media. Because I do think my whole career changed because of social media like 6 years ago. And I always say, like, there's opportunity out there that you don't even know exists yet
Mm.
because of social media. And I think, like, if you're like, oh, I don't enjoy social media, like, I shouldn't have to use this, then that's fine. You don't have to. You definitely can still make it without using social media. But if you want to open up a different avenue and use it as a tool, there is so much you can do with it. And I think when it's an adult, I do treat it very different. It's a personal brand. You are bringing in more of you beyond your talent. And like what we were talking about earlier, like, that can feel really intimidating then. It's like, a lot of actors like will come to me and they're like, I'm only posting self tapes, and I'm like, they can see them on your spotlight. Like, we don't actually need them on your social media. Yeah, you can have a few, but let's find out about you. So I do see that as very, very different.
I think that's really exciting. If an actor wants to lean into that and, like you say, enjoy it, there's no point. If you hate it, if you dread it, like, we really shouldn't be doing anything we hate, should we? Like, regularly.
Yeah.
But if you're leaning towards it, then how exciting that there are people like you there who will help them build it and get the best out of it. And I've really enjoyed, since being on social media more as the drama coach, the connections I'm making, like with yourself. I've connected with so many fun, like-minded people who want to just share decent advice and, caveated with it, it's their own opinion, but they want to help people,
Yeah.
which I think
Yeah,
is
and this
lovely.
is the thing. Like, don't we think more good-hearted voices need to be heard? Like, that's my
100%.
mission, like, and I see a lot of debate around social media, and I'm like, well, what about the people who just want to help, who want to create impact? Like, they're the people that I help, and help them channel in that voice, and we can still be strategic with it, whether it's a business to make more sales or you're trying to get in front of the right people. But yeah, I think when you look at it from a different lens, any single person that I've coached from a branding point of view, I'm like, you're going to end up loving it. You're going to end up loving it.
Oh,
I
that's nice.
I think I healed the most when I started social media.
Oh, that's great. That's so positive. It's there. I don't think we're going to escape it entirely. So if you want to, then why not embrace it safely? Which brings me to my next point of, what are the common, I think you said mistakes, maybe, like always just sharing your self-tapes, but common mistakes or risks that you see in, I mean, we can lean this to adults as well. It doesn't have to all be about children.
Yeah.
These children are going to become young adults.
Yeah, well, I think with children, one of the most important things that is a big risk is posting in real time, like where they are right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a big issue. And even as a teacher perspective, this just came into my head, like the tragic event of the Taylor Swift workshop. I don't know. Yeah, like, I'm traumatized from that, and that has really opened my eyes. Every time I advertise my classes, I don't put our location on it anymore on the general Facebook.
That's a good
Now,
point.
it would be
Just
very
for the
easy to
ones who are
find it.
actually coming need to know it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good point.
Um,
Gosh, yeah.
yeah, like, it's so serious, and yeah, so just thinking, you don't need to post it in real time. Don't post the exact location where you're going, or wait till after you've left. I think as well, like, understanding, are they at an age where they can understand comments? Like, pre-teenage is a very vulnerable time. Do we want them to be having access to what comments are coming in, what DMs are coming in, things like that? I think is important.
Presumably there's options to switch all of that off. If it's a child has become a legal age where they can have social media, maybe a little bit of help from their parent, agent, coach, they could limit that, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so you can filter out words. So I don't like I'm imagining a 13-year-old saying you're not allowed to have comments. They'd be like, "What's the point?"
Yeah, they're going to say, "What's the point?" Yeah,
you can set it to filter out certain words. So if anybody like said a certain words, it would be it wouldn't show up for them. So you do that.
That's sensible. I suppose that would be reactive if something came up, or you knew something came up with friends or other actors, then you could block that ahead of time, I suppose. That's interesting.
From an adult's point of view, like some of the risks or some of the kind of mistakes that I see is kind of what I've been saying, like very performative, where it's actually the opposite. We want to try, and it's another skill to learn and train, is to show up as yourself, as much of yourself as you can, and that will come with time. Like I look back at my old content and be like, I don't even sound the same. Like I'm literally like high pitch and like da, 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 I'm so nice.
And you've just become comfortable and confident in front of the camera then, I presume.
Yeah, but it took me such a long time, and like, I mean, I could riff on this for a long time because this is something I'm really passionate about. I think as performers, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be natural, to speak on camera, but it's not the same skill. Like, there's no feedback from anybody, so that's like one of the first things. And I remember actually I host like a lot of Zoom calls, trainings, and I'd crack a joke and you wouldn't hear people laughing back because everyone's on mute. And I remember the first time I spoke on stage, like in as myself, not as a performer, and I said a little joke, and when I heard them laugh back, I got a fright. I was like, oh my god,
no.
It's so weird, it's so backwards.
Well, that's the wonderful power of in person, isn't it? That is really lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. But yeah, you weren't used to it because you got so used to it.
I know, and I remember being like, isn't that wild how we just adapt to our environment? So yeah, I think for adults, just getting comfortable with showing a little bit of yourself, and that doesn't mean you have to show every part of yourself. I call it like scenes. Pick scenes of your life. You get to decide what people see. You get to decide what vulnerability you want to share, like, you know, and what journey you want to bring people on. And if that's only based on your performance, your career, like, that's okay. But we can get creative with how we can still bring people in to get to know you beyond your talent.
Some people keep separate social medias, don't they? They might have like an Instagram personal and an Instagram professional, usually as an actor that I see. Is that something that you would advise, or do you think they need to blend the two?
I think so. Like, it depends on their age, I think so. Like, because when you think of like a 25-year-old girl or boy, like, they want to be posting going out with their friends and, you know, on a night out. And I don't think that should be on your personal brand. Like, your acting page is a personal brand, you know? So, yeah, we want to know a bit more of you, but we don't, like, need to see you out drinking.
Yeah, sure. Maybe the highlights, maybe the nice tears at the beginning and not the rest. I don't know.
But it's something I think I kind of learned this myself. Like, I was probably 23 when I went on social media. Shows my age now, like 2 decades ago. But I remember like being
Gosh, you look so youthful.
I'm 41.
Oh my goodness.
You're great, maths.
Oh, you look great.
When I went on social media, like I was like in early 20s, I didn't have that cop on to be like, oh, I shouldn't be posting that because some of my students might see this, you know. So I think it's very important, like, where you're at with your capacity to keep your acting separately, so that whatever you do in your spare time can live over somewhere else where all just your cool friends see you.
That's really smart. I like that. So the next question was going to be about talking about how we could use social media in a positive and healthy way. And I feel we've already touched upon that. Is there more you'd like to say about how people can use it in a positive, healthy way?
Yeah, I do think we feel like we touched on a lot, but I think, like, for adults, like, I feel like I'm going to do this with both questions.
Sure. No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think for adults, like we were saying, like, most likely you're attracting good people who want to help, and just sharing your knowledge. Like, your knowledge is enough. You don't have to have all the answers to everything. all you need to be is a couple of steps ahead of somebody else to be able to help them. You might have just done it
that's really
yesterday.
nice.
You know, you might have just learned how to send a self-tape yesterday. Recording a video on that is going to help somebody else. And I just think when we think of it for that way, like, people aren't coming out to get you or question you or quiz you on you saying that you're in, like, you don't have to have all the answers. So I think that's really important. And then I think for young people is just like, limit how much you consume, because
Yes.
comparison is just, you know, it can be
We all do it, don't we? Yeah.
yeah, it's really bad. Like, I'm actually trying to put myself through a challenge now not to scroll so much, because you just don't notice you do it. Like, you know, time just goes by. I was a little bit late for this call.
Oh no. I can find that though. I'll scroll with my drama coach hat on. And I don't know, there's something cute about cats or daughters, and I go to like it because that's me. And I go, oh no, hang on, I'm looking for actors, agents, creatives, you know, that I'm supposed to be connecting with. I'm not supposed to be looking at fluffy ducks or whatever.
Yeah, I know. Like,
so I went on trying to do some work, and yeah, would get distracted by myself. So I can see that tear between
TikTok.
the two.
Like, I feel like TikTok is worse for that. It kind of, the TikTok rabbit hole, like, it's doing its job. It's giving you exactly what you want. So yeah, as a creator, like, if you're creating content, I do try to be very intentional about why I'm on that app. You know, that kind of
me
like,
too.
yeah. But then, like, I'll be like, at the end of the day, I'll have a little, right, this is my scroll time. That's how I try manage it anyway.
Sounds very sensible. So let's talk more about identity and mindset, because this is your strong point. You speak about, I really enjoyed reading your bio on TikTok actually, and you speak about being famously yourself. You mentioned this earlier. Amplify your work so it's felt, represented, remembered and chosen. So I liked reading that. That felt really exciting. Tell me what that looks like in practice for ideally a young performer, but you can include adults as well.
Yeah, I think, like, famous yourself is literally something I've only started speaking about this in the last month or so. And I think it's because of the work I've been doing with young performers who feel like they have to be further than they are, more than what they are, better than what they are. Like, I feel like they're always chasing this, like, next thing. And I'm just like, I just want everyone to know that you are enough. Yes, we train, we get better. Like, let's not be naive about it. Like, we're continuously working on our craft, but you as a person, like, you can do what it takes. Like, if you put the work in, like, there's hard work involved, but you can do what it takes. And don't let anybody tell you you're not good enough. Like, no matter what you are or who you are, you know, like, as somebody who was quite shy growing up and always felt like I was kind of both. I was shy, but then I felt too much. Like, I was, you know, that kind of swinging feeling and just feeling misunderstood a lot of the times. That it's really important to me that people feel when they're working with me that, you know, they are enough. They can improve and keep working on it, but who they are is enough. And the difference between, like, when someone walks in a room who's confident in who they are, like, that's what I call the it factor. Like, you know, when people say, oh, they just have it, or your star quality, I don't think people are born with that. I think that is like a very settled sense of trust in what you have to
in yourself. Yeah. I love that, because I was speaking recently about young performers thinking that they have to look, behave, speak, be a certain way or be like a certain person. I was trying to say, you're not, you are unique. You know, don't change. Obviously be clear, be intentional, but don't change you, embrace you. And I think that links quite nicely. It just trying to encourage these people to love themselves and appreciate themselves and not hide away.
And it takes work, like, you know, it doesn't just happen. And like, if you're a parent listening to this and you might be like, oh, well, my child is confident. Like, just check in on that, because I appeared very confident as a child, and now I have conversations with my mum, and my mum be like, really, I had no idea you felt that way, you know. And I'd be like, she's like, you'd always just be dancing for everybody and putting on a show, but inside I felt like a shell of myself. And it's really like, she just be sad hearing that from me, because obviously she was a great mother, like, and you know, it appeared I was confident. So if your child is appearing as confident, like, I remember hearing this thing before is like, instead of just saying to your child, like, oh, you look great today, like, you know, if they had a new outfit on or something, like give them more than that. That colour really suits you. Like just bring it out more. Or I love you, instead of, you know, I love you because, or I love you this, or I'm really proud because of this. Just go deeper into the reason why. So it doesn't sound generic in their heads, especially, you know, like hormonal preteens, like, yeah, we want to be just going a little bit further. Like I have a stepson that lives here with me, and you know, I'll say things to him like, instead of just saying, "Oh, you're really kind," I was like, "Oh, I really appreciate that you just went the extra mile to put the straw and the ice in that cup." Like I really drag it out, but I do think it has. He'd be like, "Oh, thank you," and he starts to
Yes.
see himself as kind rather than just being told he's kind.
Because I do that, I'm going to take that away from today. Thank you. Because I can be, oh, you're really kind, or you look really pretty, or whatever it
Yeah,
is. And I've even had back from my eldest, well, you just say that because you're my mum. I was like, you did really well. That was really good. You just say, no, I'm not, because like, do you not know me? I'm saying it
yeah,
because I mean it. I always say it because I
yeah,
mean it. But I think you're right. If we just, as parents or step parents, just go that level deeper, or carers, you know, obviously we don't have to be parents, but just
mm,
adults looking out for, and that might be teachers or coaches, just adults looking out for young people to just, like you say, go that little bit deeper, go that extra mile. Don't leave it at a generic comment. Give a reason for that comment, and maybe that would just seep in for them a little bit more. That's
yeah.
beautiful. I'm going to take that.
Yeah, I
Thank
love that.
you.
I love that that resonates. I do this in my theatre school as well. So, like, the end of last competition season, I wrote them all like an individual note, and I really like sat there and was like, right, what's something really positive that's unique to this person? Can I say? Like, it took a while, but we got there,
Were
and
they
I
physical notes? They could take
it's
them
sort of like
away. Oh, I
handwritten
could
notes in a
stick them
little
on their mirror or something.
It was actually really fun. If any teachers are listening who wants an idea, we had a load of helium balloons with an envelope attached, and they had to go in and find their name and then open it up. Like it was a lovely thing. But all the parents were like, that, you know, if we run anything, that's something the parents say. It's just so clear how much you care about these children. And that's what's important to me, is that they know how much I care about them and their well being overall.
That's really beautiful. That's lovely. Oh, I wish I could come to your classes.
Oh,
That sounds marvelous.
you see,
Uh,
no, she's not like that at all. I'm not only joking.
I mean, you have to, as a teacher of performing arts.
Yeah,
I've definitely
yeah.
shouted at students before, but you know, I think it turned out that their parent was in the room as well. I
I
think
hate
I absolutely. I think I was directing about 80 of them, and I was like, "Oh yes,
Yeah,
stand
like
up!
it's
I've
a
told you to
job.
sit down." Oh, hi, mum. But I was justified. I was definitely
Yeah,
justified.
definitely.
But
Like,
you know, we have the balance, don't we? We
yeah,
need to have the
yeah. Like
balance.
I would be strict, like, and it's a competition school as well, and that's what I mean by meeting them where they're at. Like, what is the group for? So even though it's a competition team, one of them, like it's those pockets outside of training that they know I care about them, and then in class we're like, no, come on, let's
Yeah,
again,
focus
you
and
know,
go. Yeah,
yeah, and
absolutely.
yeah. I think that's really important. I feel like I forgot what the question was now.
I think we were sort of wrapping up from talking about identity, mindset, and what
Right.
helps identity and confidence. And so I think what you're onto there is they know what they're going to get from their teacher, their coach, that it is going to be strict in the
Mm,
studio,
yeah,
in the environment, but it's with love and with care, and that you see them as a whole person and are trying to
yeah,
encourage them to just to be their best version of their self. I
yeah,
think that kind of sums up what we're both
yeah.
pushing for. So let's talk about auditions then. So we've talked a lot about training
Mm,
and trying to find the right training, which I think just has to come down to the gut feeling of the parent and the child, and not being afraid to leave. I've learned this as an adult. I was always a sticker. You know, if it's not right, give it a good chance. But if it's not right, try somewhere else, try someone else, and
yeah.
find that right environment for you, I think. So auditions, how does well-being show up in auditions?
I think like what we were saying as well, like when they have that confidence in who they are beyond the role, that's going to show up in their audition and their prep. And I think the best way to get confidence, like if I think about, okay, when have I felt the most confident in an audition or in a performance? It's when I knew what I was doing inside out. And actually, I follow Hannah Lowther, you know, that's in Legally
Oh,
Blonde.
yes.
I
I
love
only
it.
just realised yesterday that she had a podcast. I was like, how have I not
Yeah,
realised this?
so
Yeah,
fun.
brilliant. So I've started
But I've
listening.
been watching on YouTube. She does like a each week of Legally Blonde, what a vlog. Why could I not remember that name? But when it was in the rehearsal process, because you don't get much time to put on these big shows, like, and I remember saying something that really stuck with me. That I was like, that's a better way of explaining what I mean. But basically, she was saying, oh, like I know the steps, like I know what comes next, but it's not like embedded in me. It's not.
Yeah, it's not in the body.
Yeah,
Yes. And I
yeah,
can feel that with lines. I can know the lines, but they're not in me. And it's only when they're in you that you can play and truly perform, I think.
yeah, yeah. So that, I think, and that's going to like settle a lot of confidence and go in as your true self, bringing what you have to deliver then.
I think the complication becomes if an audition comes through quickly.
Yeah.
And you've got to make, and it can't be in you because you haven't got time
Yes.
to make it in you. So you just have to go, it's not, and I'm going to do my best to still be myself and relax about it, because what more can I do in this time?
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people put so much pressure on themselves. I just, my message to the world is like, give yourself a bit of grace. Like if you have like a 24-hour turnaround, obviously you're not going to like embody it fully, you know, and be like, I've done the best I could with what I had at that time. I feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves throughout life, throughout our careers, throughout social media, throughout everything we're talking about. And I just think, give yourself a bit of grace. You're a human
And you're
being.
doing
And
what you're enjoying, aren't you?
yeah,
Supposed to be. So
yeah,
if it's not like, try to enjoy it. Otherwise,
yeah,
what's the point?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Like I just think, I think the right thing will happen for people. Like, I truly do believe that. Like, yeah, people get lucky breaks and social media has a lot to answer for and all these things, but the right thing will happen for you. And and another thing about auditions is the cast and directors are on the other side of that, wanting to find somebody, not to
I
put people
say this.
down, you know, like they're
Yes.
wanting to find the right person.
Yes. Even
Yeah,
when this is a school audition and you're into drama, I've been on that panel and I'm like, please just chill. It's only me, and they're all
yeah,
terrified of me and the music teacher. We want you to do your best. We want to cast you. We are
yeah,
on your side. And the same goes for a performance. Students especially freak out when it's in front of their peers. They can do it for
yeah,
strangers, but as soon as their peers are in the audience, and I get that. But
yeah,
again, we've picked something that we enjoy. Try to just go, the audience are on my side. I teach this
yeah,
for public speaking as well. They're on none of this business about imagine them in their underwear. Like, what a waste of
yeah,
imagination. Just imagine they're on your side, because they probably are. And to
yeah,
just
yeah.
relax. I
And
mean,
I
it's
always
easier
say,
said than done.
yeah, like I always say to my students, like if you're feeling like shy and apprehensive and don't go full out, you're giving them something to say, because you're not
True.
as strong as you could be. If you perform it the way I know you can, you're going to be incredible. You know, like they're holding themselves back and not doing it as good as they could do it, which gives people something to say, that not that they're
Good
there
point.
to say. Yeah, it's so true. Like, you're holding yourself back. Yeah, so I think directors, casting directors, they're looking for people to cast. And I think as well, I don't know if it's an age thing, a maturity thing, but like I do think you get to a certain age, well, I believe so, I don't know for everybody, that you start to realise that like it has nothing got to do with your talent sometimes why you didn't get picked. Like, it is about the
Mm.
whole picture, you know, when you look at the whole process, like who the couple is going to
Yeah,
be,
it's
or
the
who they,
puzzle. Yeah.
yeah, it's the whole puzzle. And I think like we can get so focused on what we want and like, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna try really, really hard, and then you don't, and you internalize it all, knock on your identity, knock on your mindset, and actually just forgetting about it. So even if you did know that before, there's a reminder that it's all part of a puzzle, and it's not actually about just one part that you went for.
Absolutely. So I feel you've given me what we were going to say in the next bit, which is what helps the students feel grounded and confident in the
Mm.
audition. I think we've said it is that knowing it when you can, being yourself, and just having that confidence. Any other little nuggets before we talk to the parents? Any other little nuggets for the students themselves?
No, I feel like this
I
whole
feel like that's it.
episode covers that question.
Yeah, I think so too. So for the parents listening, because I
Mm,
talk a lot about parents picking, parents
yeah.
delivering their own anxieties onto their
Mm,
children, unknowing to them. And you talking about your mum? I talked to my mum after a solo episode. I was like, "Yeah, you remember, mum, when I didn't get those parts? You were gutted, and that made me feel dreadful." Because
yeah.
she was like, "Oh, I was just being sympathetic." I was like, "Well, actually, it was the worst because then I felt bad that I'd upset you." Blah 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 blah. It was huge. So I try to be really casual with my daughter, but then I don't want to be too casual, as if it doesn't matter. So getting that balance is really really tricky. So for any parents listening, what can they do to help their young performers feel grounded, confident for auditions,
Yeah,
performances?
I think you just have to meet your individual child where they're at. Like that's a perfect example of, you know, I I work with so many children and parents, and I'm trying to think across the board. I think if my child isn't a performer, but if he was, I've tried countless times. Like I'd be like, well, how badly did you want it? Like, don't assume you know how they feel about it. Like, how badly did you want to? Like, is that making you sad? Are you relieved? Or like, what's next type
Mm,
of thing. So yeah, I think we can place a lot of assumption on them, and I definitely come across a lot of parents who actually put more expectation on their child than the child has on themselves. And
yes.
it's quite sad to see, because I see children, how do I say this, like, not perform to the best of their ability because they feel that pressure. And I don't think it's pressure of wanting the part. I think it's the pressure of the parent's reaction, and
That's tricky.
yeah, it's like, that's not what we're about. Like, not what we're about at all. So yeah, I think from a parent's point of view is understanding where your child is at, meeting them where they're at, and also understanding that it's a long game. Like, there is no quick wins. Yeah, like you might get a lucky break here and there, but it's a long game. Like, actually, watched a video the other day. I can't remember who it was. It was on TikTok when I was scrolling, and she was saying that she's in LA and she was living with two famous actors, and the biggest realization she had was, like, they have been in blockbuster movies and their
I
life.
watched this too. Did you repost this? I'm sure
Or
I've
maybe I
seen this
did.
like yesterday.
And she was saying, like, their lives were exactly the same. Yeah, they had more money because they, got some opportunities, but their days were filled with applying for auditions, having auditions, getting close to it, getting dropped.
Being let down again, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that is such a great perspective shift, that everyone is chasing this blockbuster like movie of, that's what you want to do, but that's not the end goal. Like, it's a long game. Um, and one of the things I actually think, I don't know whether, I remember thinking about this when I saw one of the questions, that I think social media is helping with this. Like, I've seen some Facebook group for parents, talking about agencies. I think that's great. Like, let's talk about different agencies.
Especially bringing up red flags and warning people of things that shouldn't be
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Now, we're a brand new age. Well, in January we launched, but it has taken off pretty fast. So we're not in the Facebook groups yet. But if anybody listens to this and wants to mention, I'm only joking. But I think it's good that people are talking. But I do also, when I see things like, a parent might say, "Oh, she's been with this like agency for 3 weeks and we haven't had a call back yet." And it's like, you can see their parents be like, you need a little bit of sense of reality here.
Yeah, they need to know the expectations. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think social media is helping with that, like, parents' view on the industry. That educational, that realistic expectation
Yeah, because if
is
you've never
helping.
been in it, how would you know? I'll be like, well, of course there's this and that, but I have more insight than others. So yes, unless you're educated and informed, then you can get frustrated, and then your child's going to get frustrated. So
Yeah.
I think education is the way, isn't it, for that one? Yeah, get on those
Education.
Facebook groups. Some of them are really good.
Yeah, yeah. I've started to come into a few now. Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to see the industry from a different lens. So obviously a lot of my background is musical theatre, social media. So the acting industry, so the agency isn't just me, it's in partnership with Tracy, and her background is acting and coaching and stuff. So we've come together. So I'm kind of seeing a new insight to a lot of things, which I absolutely love. But it's good because I'm bringing my expertise that is completely different into it. So it's opening up bigger conversations, which I love.
And I think I saw you again talking on TikTok about that, about bringing two different elements. We're so used to, oh, I'll work with them because they're like me, which feels like a nice, safe idea. But again, you can see this in child partnerships when they're acting together and things. It's really magical and fun to see two different elements come
Yeah.
together and work together. I love that. It's
Yeah,
a bit
yeah.
off topic.
My
But
about working with Tracy, yeah, that our
yes,
skill sets are so differently. Yeah, for sure. Like even like the fact that she's not on this any of the content is like a clear example of that. But she's like works closely with our talent on a roster, you know. So it's yeah, it's really good.
awesome. Okay, expectations. Ooh, so we've talked a lot about sort of the pressure and parents. How do you help families manage the expectations in this industry?
Mm. How do I help? Well, give me some
And then the
context.
second question is like support systems. So that will link into that. Sort of what do you have or suggest or do or say or put into place to support and manage these expectations of this very difficult industry?
Yeah, so well, within the agency we have it's called the Elite Room. So we have quarterly calls with our clients. So we come on and it's like a networking opportunity for other clients within it, and also just the opportunity to share wins and talk about like what's coming up for people. So like for adults, we definitely, you know, having that right network around you. But for parents, I just always think clear communication. And you know what? I think it might be interesting for parents to know this from a teacher's perspective, that we worry about what the parent is going to think of something. I shouldn't say we. I
Yep, I've done that too.
we think, oh my gosh, like I am dreading having to tell them that this rehearsal has to change from 10 o'clock till 11 o'clock because of them. You know, it could be something so small. And I don't know whether parents know how much we like think about that and understand how that changes your family plan. But like we've got 100 kids to try
Yeah.
manage, you know. And so I think this podcast, like this needs to be out to more people. Like I love what you're doing here, and like helping parents understand and have like, you know, have good expectations is actually part of it, is understanding the other side of it, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, just understanding the other side of it and just read the letters.
Yeah.
Read the letters.
I mean, we're so lucky with the groups that my children are part of, both dance and theatre wise. And like the theatre group, for example, we get that timetable about a year in advance, and they are so on it and they are wonderful. But I know of other parents at other places and they're tearing their hair out. And I know as a parent, the family plans, even just with two kids, is near on impossible. But who's where, what, when, the balancing, the
Yeah.
eating, the ferrying around is bonkers. And when one piece is out of place, it's super stressful.
Yeah.
I've been a teacher for many years as well. I'm an actor now. It's so I see all of the sides. But yeah, and sometimes things do have to change, and I get that. When they change all the time, ad hoc all over the place,
Yes.
drives you crazy. So I think if everyone can meet in the middle, if those
Yeah.
teachers and those parents can see each other's sides and be understanding, then
Yeah,
the
I
world's
think you're
better.
really good at articulating what I meant. Like for sure. Like that's what I mean, is like, you know, understanding that we don't just change things for the sake of changing it. Like we're really thinking about how that's impacting you, and it's like the last resort. And meeting, like just seeing each other and knowing that we both want the I thought you were gone then.
No, I had low battery and I realised the whole time the plug had been in the wrong plug. So yes, I do think I do tend to summarise. I think that's the teacher in me as well.
I love it though, because I'm like, it makes me know whether my point landed or if I need to say more. So I really like that.
Perfect. Good.
Right.
I'm terrible for interrupting as well because I get excited and want to say more and want to tell you that I'm on your wavelength. So we've talked about expectations and managing them. And I think, yeah, we've said if parents and teachers know a little bit about each other's sides, then it does make things a little easier. So what is the sort of biggest system that you have that makes a difference? So you've got all these beautiful little things like your notes to students at the end, obviously checking in with your clients. What is the system that makes the biggest difference?
For our theatre skill is, again, it's just like clear communication. I love what you were saying, a year, what's say, a year and a half in
A
advance.
year in advance, yeah, and they follow this when you've been with them a year or so. They follow the pattern, and you kind of know when the show's going to be and which nights they're going to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really helpful.
So some of the things I do is like when it's something new is I will do it in video form because I like them to
Brilliant.
see and just, you know, this is what we're doing, this is what we're going to, this is what you can expect. Just having clear kind of like this is what is expected from you before you sign up is a huge thing for me, because I don't want to get them in on the premise that, you know, it's a low cost event when it's not going to be a low cost event, or, you know, something like that. So having that clear communication is a great system. We have a WhatsApp group, but also in terms of the agency, like I was saying, we have those clients check-ins and really getting to know each individual person. With the younger people, what we are going to be doing is like doing actual workshopping with them. Because we're quite new and we took in adults first, so we've only started taking children in the last 2 months, I want to say. Yeah. So so we're excited to bring those together, because I think it's a great opportunity to, you know, when you know they land an agent and they're like so excited. I want them to be like excited for each other as well, because
Yes.
that's the teacher in me and that like culture and all of that. Like I want our agency to feel like everybody is part of it and it's not like a competition between clients, you know.
Oh, I really like that. It sounds lovely. And you can nurture them. And so the agent I'm with is the same as my daughter now. I moved to be on her same agency, and they took on adults because their children were growing up. So they didn't want to lose them and leave them. So they were the opposite and started as a child agency. I was like, well, lucky for me. But it was, I thought that was really beautiful that they didn't want to let them go.
This is how my brain works straight away. I'm like, imagine the content they could create. But that is so special. And I think that's why I love like social media and branding and stuff like that. Because if you like, if anybody, a parent and a child came across that on social media, you'd be like, that is the agent I want. Like you would want to be there because of that story.
And you wouldn't know that. It was from an interview I did with her before I had the podcast. I've since put it on the podcast because I thought it was relevant. And I found that out from chatting to her. Yeah. Thought that was really lovely. Okay, Audrey Elizabeth, are you ready for your quick fire round?
Yeah, I'll try keep them quick now, because clearly I don't.
Me neither. But don't worry if you've said it already or if something brand new, just whatever comes to mind, just for a bit of fun to sort of shake it off at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that stands out instantly in a young performer.
How they take up space.
Awesome. A common mistake in auditions.
Not projecting your voice on your introduction.
One piece of advice for parents.
Have clear expectations of what you're trying to get to.
And one piece of advice for performers.
You are enough and you will always be enough, but keep training.
Beautiful. That was a good quick fire. That was quick.
Yes.
Well done.
On the ball.
Okay, so before we finish, do you want to let people know where they can find you and where they can find Elites Creative?
Yeah, so obviously, like I do a lot of different things, so I'm just going to have to list a few. So my TikTok is probably the best because it's kind of where I bring all my worlds together. I talk about my teacher skill, I talk about the agency, I talk about social media. So that is Audrey, what is that one? Audrey_Elite Creative. Instagram is Audrey Elizabeth Official, and the agency is Elite Creative Casting. Nearly forgot then.
You did well. You did well.
You can tell I'm an actor. Can't remember.
You can fire those to me and I'll put them in the show notes as well. So they'll be in there. Okay. A big thank you to Audrey Elizabeth for such a thoughtful and insightful conversation. I think there's so much in there, starting with well-being, support, navigating the industry, and staying healthy and grounded throughout all of that. If you found this helpful, do feel free to share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to follow or subscribe so that you don't miss future episodes. And if you have a moment to leave a quick review, it really helps more people find this podcast. You can find more support, resources, and coaching through the links in my bio across all my socials. And I'll be back soon with another episode of the Drama Coach podcast. A massive thank you to you, Audrey, for your time, your energy, and your wisdom today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.